So
Yeah.
are you saying Allah can deceive if it brings about a greater good?
If you apply it in a certain context, I would say sure.
Okay. So if Allah deceived the Jews in the world by putting someone to look like Jesus on the cross, who wasn't him, what greater good did that bring about, given that it created the world's largest competitor to Islam, created constant division between the Islamic and the Christian world, resulting in thousands of battles, killing, enslavement, tit for tat, all that nonsense? How did that bring about a greater good in that sense?
Hello.
Hey, good to see you again.
Okay.
Yep, you too. Hey, Avery.
Good, man. How you doing? How you been all week?
I've been hanging in there, and just living my life.
It's good, man. It's good. What's on your mind?
So actually, I was hoping we could pick up where we left off when we were talking about, Mocker and the Quran verses, I think 354 and the one in Surah 4, I believe. And so I was trying to tell you that that the Mocker that was orchestrated by God is different compared to how human beings might lie for evil gains, essentially. And
Oh, you're talking about Allah being the deceiver, right?
well, see, I don't think so. I was actually reading the tafsir by Ibn Kathir, and he used the word deceived as part of his tafsir, but I've seen translations like the best of those plot or planning, and so I've actually managed to formulate, I guess, an analogy to explain that verse. So imagine we got an arsonist and someone who does controlled burning. So controlled burning is something that's acceptable to manage a fire, but an arsonist is someone that might carry out an arson to try to take lives. And so God, using his plotting to outsmart the Jews that were full of themselves and were looking to prove Jesus to be false, they got punished by thinking they were executing Jesus, but really weren't. And so, and also, I know that there are 3 cases where a person is, I guess, permitted to lie. And any Muslim can tell you that it's like, during a battle, to bring peace between people, and like a spouse making up with their significant other. But God is described as all powerful and all just, and there are some things about him that we can't know to like 100% about him, given his power. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that that God had a purpose in essentially tricking the Jews that thought they were executing Jesus, but really weren't. So
let me just clarify something. Are you saying that lying is okay if it brings about a greater good? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, again, any Muslim can tell you that there are only 3 cases where it is halal for a Muslim to lie, which is, during war, spouse making up with like their significant other and to bring peace between people. But a type of lying that is bad is, let's say like someone clearly saw me throw something across the room and I still lie about them and try to gaslight them. That's not an acceptable type of lying, and that would actually be a major sin. Mm-hmm. And I did already draw that analogy about an arsonist and a controlled burning. Controlled burning is supposed to be, it's an approved tactic to manage fires, but an arsonist tries to claim lives and destroy property. And so like a liar who tries to stow division or tries to gaslight somebody is just, all they're doing is just using it for evil gains, and will bring everybody, including themselves, down a dark path.
Yeah, so that's why I clarified. So using your analogy of the controlled burn and the arsenic, you're saying that lying in Islam could be good if it brings about a greater good. Like, and then it's bad if it doesn't. So like a controlled burn, you can burn some things. You could say analogously that's a little bad, but it's bringing about a greater good, preventing a forest fire. So that's what I was asking. Is that what you're trying to get at with your analogy?
Well, it really depends on what is happening, and it all varies upon the situation. But it really depends on what good you are talking about, and so But you really should try to look for alternatives to that if feasible. But
right.
but Islam is all about, like, Islam says that, God knows your intentions and he's all understanding, and so I think that, and like he knows everyone's hearts, and so that I suspect that's why he made those 3 exceptions for us.
Okay, but then are you saying Allah can lie if it brings about a greater good?
Where are you going?
Well,
that's what Sijawadi said last time on the stream after you left. That's what he was arguing with another Muslim. Are you agreeing with like Sijawadi on that?
Well, see, this is what I'm getting at here. So like when an evil person lies, they're obviously trying to sow division and cause obvious destruction. But God's counter scheming when the Jews apparently believed they were executing Jesus was a way to keep Jesus' name as a prophet intact and to keep the truth intact.
Well, it sounds like we're saying the same thing. I mean, you're saying, like, so in your analogy, you're saying, yeah, the Jews were scheming, so they were trying to deceive, so Allah deceived them back because that brought about a greater good. That seems to be what you're saying, and I'm just trying to make sure that we're on the same page.
So I think I actually know a way to explain this. So let's say you're communicating with an atheist and they ask you, how could God flood the whole world yet condemn murder at the same time? Like, what would you say to that atheist?
Yeah, I would say that murder, for example, a person is it's killing an innocent life.
Right.
And of course, in that example, according to the flood account, there was no innocent life. God can bring judgment upon sinful people. So, yeah, we would not say killing is necessarily wrong. Ending a life justly can be a good thing. And that's why, again, I think we're on the same page here. I'm just trying to make sure we are.
Okay, yeah. The reason why I asked you that is because, like, just as there's a difference between a person killing another person, which obviously is trying to spread corruption and wreak havoc. And so you said that, God flooding the world was apparently disciplined to those that were sinning, and Noah even tried to reason with the people, yet they ignored him. And so I believe that when those Jews were apparently they thought they were trying to execute Jesus, like they were full of themselves. They were trying to apparently show everyone that Jesus wasn't really a prophet when he really was. And so
okay, I'm with you. So
yeah,
are you saying Allah can deceive if it brings about a greater good?
If you apply it in a certain context, I would say sure.
Okay, so if Allah deceived the Jews in the world by putting someone to look like Jesus on the cross, who wasn't him, what greater good did that bring about, given that it created the world's largest competitor to Islam, created constant division between the Islamic and the Christian world, resulting in thousands of battles, killing, enslavement, tit for tat, all that nonsense? How did that bring about a greater good in that regard?
See, again, like the thing I've been trying to get at with you is that when, like, those Jews, when they were apparently killing the lookalike Jesus, they thought, we're going to finally prove to everyone that he was lying, and so we're going to show everyone what a fraud he was. And so God decided that I'm not going to let my prophet go through this. I'm going to take him up into heaven alive. And so apparently, and also, I think another comparison I could make is, let's say, like the owner of a building decides to sneak a hidden camera to catch an unknown criminal and in the act, and he thinks, oh, I got away with this. This is awesome. But no, he really didn't. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. And so I would say that we can't, like, there are things that we can't understand about God's justice, yet we put our faith in him. And so I would say that was just a punishment to a specific group of people, and in the process keeping Jesus' name as a prophet intact.
Couldn't Allah just have taken Jesus up like he took Elijah up without having someone die on the cross and start Christianity?
Well, see, yeah, I mean, you do make a fair point there, but I'm referring to a very specific case where it was a small group of Jews who, if they refused to trust Jesus no matter what, even after he tried to talk to them and reason with him. And so when they were all like, oh yeah, we're going to finally prove to everyone that he was a big fraud or whatever. And so again, God taking Jesus up into paradise alive was a way for God to protect him and to punish the sinners in the process.
So then how did having a companion or disciple of Jesus or someone being made to appear so that he got crucified helped that? I mean, he could just have taken Jesus up like Elijah was taken up. Why did he also need to have somebody die on the cross who appeared as Jesus and then start the world's largest religion, which competes with Islam?
So sometimes like even like I'm like a little bit tripped up about like this idea in the Quran, like which I do like believe what that verse says in the Quran about him not being crucified, but I've heard answers like, oh, maybe one of the disciples willingly decided to take on his appearance to trick everybody, or maybe it was Simon, or maybe it was just a whole nother person that everybody believed was Jesus when he really.
All of this conjecture, man. All this conjecture that you have to follow in order to hold this position, instead of where all the evidence leads that Jesus was crucified.
I mean, I get what you're doing, man. But let me just try to explain the way it looks to people else. It looks like we're starting with a conclusion. Islam has got to be true. There can't be a mistake. Now I have to come up with conjecture to make it fit. And the problem we see with that is just not how we would do anything. Like, let's say like we were scientists and we discovered electricity, and I was a believer in alchemy, and you were like, we discovered electricity. And I'm like, no, yeah, it looks like we created electricity. Really, these are the magical wizards in parallel dimensions are shooting lasers into our dimension. You'd look at me like, okay, yeah, possibly, but that's not the simplest explanation. The simplest explanation is electricity. And likewise, when it comes to this, the simplest explanation is Jesus was crucified. The Quran got it wrong. And if Allah did make someone appear to look like Jesus, I don't see how that kind of deceiving leads to something good, and that's the problem we see.
So actually, I actually found the tafsir written by Ibn Kathir concerning this verse, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read off of it right now. So it says, the Jews plot to kill Jesus, and so God states that the children of Israel tried to kill Jesus by conspiring to defame him and crucify him. They complained about him to the king, who was a disbeliever. They claimed that Jesus was a man who misguided people, discouraged them from obeying the king, caused division, and separated between man and his own son. They also said other lies about Jesus, which they'll carry on their necks, including accusing him of being an illegitimate son. The king became furious and sent his men to capture Jesus to torture and crucify him. When they surrounded Jesus' home and he thought that they would surely capture him, God saved him from there, raising him up from the house to heaven. God put the image of Jesus on a man who was in the house when the unjust people went into the house when it was still dark. They thought he was Jesus. They then captured that man, humiliated and crucified him. They also placed thorns on his head. However, God deceived these people. He saved and raised his prophet from them, leaving them in disarray in the darkness of their transgression, thinking that they had successfully achieved their goal. God made their hearts hard and defiant of the truth, disgracing them in such disgrace that it will remain with them until the day of resurrection. This is why God said, and they plotted, and God plotted too. And God is the best of those who plot. Now, again, going back to that little comparison I made about how we have an arsonist who wants to just destroy property and possibly even take some lives in the process, against controlled burns, which are approved technique, which is 100% safe and is a way to keep it safe. And so, again, as I read in the tafsir, these were people who were full of themselves. They were boastful, and they wanted apparently to show everyone what a fraud he was. And so that, I guess, was God's way of protecting his prophet from that disgrace and humiliation, and to keep the prophetic message safe.
So, question, like, you're at a school right now, right?
I sure am.
Yeah, let's say, like, you were trapped in the school and there was a woke mob outside that school that wanted to get the Muslim. But I was on a SWAT team and I came through the window above you. I pulled you up, but I also had a magic wand, and I said, don't worry, I'm going to turn your friend right there. He's going to look like you. They're going to kill him. And then I took you up into the helicopter. Would you be happy with that I just now made your friend is going to get killed by this woke mob? Or would you be a little pissed at me for that?
Well, oh man, I like that comparison. I might think about that some more, but but let's not forget that only God is the one who is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-just. And so, we are both commanded to have faith in his plan, essentially. And so, Yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, the one thing we'd say in Christianity is that God makes a covenant and he doesn't go back on his word. So when he says, I'm going to use you, Abraham, to bless the nations, he doesn't go back on that. And I was just reading some historians past month. They said this actually gave rise to modern science because God made a covenant and he keeps his word so we can trust it. If we've got a God like Allah who deceives and goes back on his word, that doesn't sound like a good God to me. That sounds like somebody who just willy-nilly changed his mind one day, and it's like this brings up some issues. But let's think about that. You said you want to think about it.
Yeah.
Go. But is there something else you wanted to talk about? Because we talked about a lot of things last week.
Oh yeah, sure. See, I do have a Google Doc. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Oh yeah. I figured we talk about. Yeah, here, let's talk about, so I think I told you last stream that David Wood says that what would make him a Muslim is proof that the Quran says that the text of the Jews and the Christians has been corrupted. I figured let's go there. And so I have been preparing some things recently. And so, hold on, before we get into it, have you heard of Zakir Naik and Ahmadiyya?
Have we ever?
Yeah, and so they both issued a challenge to all the Christians saying if they can show him a verbatim 100% statement in any version of the Bible where Jesus himself says that he's God, where it says to pray to him, then they're ready to be Christian. So, okay, now let's get right into it right away. And so the way David Wood's exact phrase statement on the Quran differentiates from Zakir Naik's demand is this. And so if you take it at face value, they argue from explicit statements to challenge an opponent's theological position. And so if Jesus being God is essential doctrine of salvation, that it must be stated by Jesus himself, not simply referred to by a second person like Paul or somebody else. And so that claim is extraordinary, requires direct explicit evidence from the person himself, not post facto interpretations. And so Muslims do not claim that the Quran says that the Injil is textually corrupted verbatim. Rather, the Quran says that the past scriptures given to the Jews and the Christians were altered by people, which needed the Quran to get involved. And so Surah 279 says something along the lines of like, woe to those who tamper with his word. And so this comes from not one, but multiple verses which have contextual and scholarly consensus as opposed to one mere phrase. And so, yeah, of course, the Quran does not need to say that the gospel is textually corrupted, just as it does not need to say alcohol is haram verbatim. But it states its prohibition clearly in Surah 590. And so I actually have a comparison to make about this. And so...
All right. Well, hurry up. You've been gone for a little while, and we'd like to respond.
Sure.
Avery's getting ready.
Get your hands off me. Oh, man.
So,
is this the Islamic dilemma? Because I was kind of getting...
Kinda.
Okay, I was about to say my shahada for a second. I was in a daze. Okay, so just summarize for me what your main point is.
Okay, so what I said again was that it has in order to meet Zakir Naik's challenge, it has to be something from Jesus himself, not simply an author like Paul or somebody who can.
Got it. So you need Jesus claiming to be God,
and claiming in those exact words. Yes.
In those exact words.
Yes, that's what he says is part of a challenge.
So wait, is his challenge valid?
I would say so because he's demanding it be from Jesus himself.
Okay, so do you think that it's important, like it'll be an essential and important teaching of Jesus, that if people are getting this idea that he is God or worshiping him, that he comes out and explicitly says, hey, I am not God, don't worship me? Well,
see, the thing is that most of the Christians I've encountered will tell you that, but I'm just simply saying, they have to be able to provide some type of verse to justify that.
They'll tell you that he's God.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at there.
Okay, but I'm talking about for Jesus. You're saying for Jesus to be God, this would be something that he would have to explicitly say in the exact word, I am God, in order for him to be God. Right. That's what I'm getting there. So, all right. So I'm asking the reverse. So that means the reverse is true, that if he's not God, then he would have to teach explicitly in the exact words, I am not God, right?
Well, but there are verses which hint at him giving a prophetic message.
Remember, you said it has to be in the exact words, or else he's not claiming to be God. So I'm saying the same thing reverse, same standard, same criteria, just the reverse. If Jesus is clear in teaching that he's not God, then he would have to come out and say the exact words, I am not God, do not worship me, right?
Yeah, I would say that is, I see where you're going with that. And so, okay, now I would like to continue on with.
Wait, we gotta make sure. I'm glad you see the point now. Let's make sure that we settle this now. So with that being said, do you think that is a fair and good challenge? Is that a good challenge to demand that Jesus says the words, I am God, worship me? And then therefore, is it also fair of us to then also demand the same thing, just the reverse? Show us where Jesus says, I am not God, do not worship me?
I would not say so, but the reason I'm bringing that up is I would just simply say to the Christian, look, I mean, you're the one that claims to believe in the Trinity, so I'm just simply asking them to somehow justify that position. That's all I'm bringing out there.
Yeah, and same for me. You're the one telling me Jesus is not God, he's just a mere prophet. So show me where Jesus says, I am not God, I'm just a mere prophet. Right? I can ask the same type of, I can apply the same standard to you, can't I?
Actually, I am able to give you a verse which says that Jesus is a prophet.
No, that's not what I'm asking for. Remember, same standard. I'm asking for where Jesus says in his these exact words, I am not God, I am just a prophet.
Well, I guess you are right that nowhere in the Bible does it also doesn't say he's not God either, but I am able to show you a verse where it says that Jesus is called a prophet. I can show you I can read it to you right now.
That's beautiful. And I can show you a verse where Jesus is called God.
I can show you a verse where Jesus says he's God.
So yeah, Matthew 21:11 says, this is a prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee. And John 4:19, it says, sir, I perceive you are a prophet. And Luke 13:33 says it cannot be a prophet would perish outside of Jerusalem. And Mark 6:4 says a prophet is not without honor except in his hometown. So the word prophet appeared in each of these verses.
That's good. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so, now
can we show you the other way?
Yeah, you can go.
See, what you just did. And what's your name, brother?
Okay, well, my birth name is Nikolai, but my username is Muslim and Gen Z.
Muslim and Gen Z.
Yes.
Can I call you Nick?
Go ahead. All
right, Nick. So what you just did is that you just did a very beautiful job at proving that Jesus is a prophet. Beautiful job. You gave us nice, good verses that proves without a shadow of a doubt that Jesus is a prophet. And anybody who says that he's not a prophet, they are among the wrongdoers. They're going against what the Bible teaches and against what Jesus teaches. Now, we're also going to show you that he's not merely a prophet. Yes, he's a prophet and he is God. That's what we're going to show you, okay?
Okay.
All right. So here's some for just talking about some claims here. For example, because if we're just sticking with the four writings of the gospel authors here, or if we're just sticking with Jesus' words, just Jesus himself, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because it sounded like you quoted somebody else that said, "I perceived you to be a prophet," right?
Okay, again, and so let me just. So Jesus identified himself as a prophet apparently in Luke 13:33, and people also refer to him as a prophet in all the other verses. Got
it. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the same thing you gave us, where Jesus identifies himself as God and where somebody else identifies him as God. Okay. So I'll work backwards. I'll show you where somebody identified him as God. This was just one of many examples, okay? Go to John chapter 20.
John chapter 20, right?
Good verse.
Thanks, man.
So it's John 5:20, right?
No, John chapter 20.
John chapter 20, what's the verse?
It'll be verse 28.
Okay, it's coming. Okay. So, okay. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I've heard about that verse before. And so I've seen this all over social media where Christians try to cite that verse to make it seem as though he's divine. And so Thomas was the one that actually quoted that. And so from my perspective, I have to examine this carefully because, Islam says that Jesus is a prophet. And so apparently Thomas was talking to him and he was apparently voicing astonishment And so in biblical Greek, let me just read it for you.
Wait, voicing astonishment to who?
He was talking to Jesus, voicing and using a phrase of astonishment as opposed to declaring him as divine. And let me just
That's not what the Jews did at all. That would be blasphemy.
Okay. And also, and also, let's not forget that the New Testament was written by humans sometime after.
But you just quoted the New Testament to prove Jesus was a prophet. So let's not do this now. You just used the New Testament to prove Jesus was a prophet. So I'm going to use that same New Testament to prove that he's also God. You can't say that now that I'm showing where Jesus is God, that now it's corrupted. You can't do that, bro.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. That's the Muslim tactic, man. I'm trying to drag you out of that. Before you go full Muslim, I'm telling you, before you go full Muslim, it doesn't seem like you got yet. Before you go full, this is what the Muslim will do. The Muslim will quote to me the New Testament to help their case, and then when I show the New Testament that defeats their case, they'll say, oh, well, that's corrupted. You don't want to be that guy, because that looks crazy.
Well, also, actually, Surah 548 does say that the Quran is the ultimate authority, and so what supports the Quran is good, but what doesn't, you can just throw away. That seems like what it's telling you to do.
All right, we can get into that next, okay? We'll get into that next on whether or not Allah says that you can pick and choose what you believe of the scriptures. We'll talk about that next. But first, let's talk about the claims of Jesus and the people around him in the Bible. And then we'll talk about what the Quran's view is, okay? Is that fair?
Sure.
All right. So, according to the Bible here, Thomas calls Jesus his Lord and his God. Is that correct?
It seems to me that that's what it's saying.
So, we got somebody acknowledging and recognizing Jesus, not just as his Lord, but as his God. Right? Okay. So, that's one of his original 12 disciples that's doing that. Now, Jesus doesn't rebuke him. He says, blessed are... you see that you believe this because you see me, but blessed are those who believe without seeing. So Jesus affirms what Thomas is saying about him. He doesn't deny him or reject him. Right? Go ahead and read the next verse.
What verse are you talking about?
In John chapter 20, verse 28, read verse 29.
Oh, John 20:29, right?
So this is right after Thomas just called Jesus his Lord and his God. Watch how Jesus responds to him.
Okay, and so again, it says, Jesus says to him, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen, yet have believed.
So do you see how he's not reprimanding Thomas for blasphemy, for calling him his Lord and God, but he's saying, Thomas, you believe this because you see me. But blessed are those who believe without even having to see me. Who believe what? That he is Lord and God, that he's risen.
So, John 20:29 is talking about how it says like to emphasize like faith in God, like in his messengers, even without, like, I guess, direct visual evidence.
Faith in who, though?
And so Jesus' statement here is that belief doesn't require seeing miracles firsthand.
But faith in who?
I would imagine it's referring to Jesus, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So Jesus is saying, put your faith in me as your Lord and God, even without seeing. Without having to see it with your own eyes, without having to visually and physically experience that, but put your faith in me and believe that I am your Lord, I am your God. Believe this without even having to see, and you'll be blessed. See? So Jesus affirms what Thomas is saying. You understand what I'm saying?
I do believe I know where you're going with this.
So this is Jesus right after Thomas declares Jesus to be God. Jesus agrees with Thomas that he's his Lord and God, but says, blessed are those who believe this without even having to see me. Pretty good, huh?
Okay, and so I wanted to continue reading on where I was going to say I was, and so for
wait, do you want to see where Jesus says we can pray to him?
Wait, sorry, what was the question?
Do you want to see where Jesus says we can pray to him?
Where does it say that?
Yeah, so go to John chapter 14. Now, before I bring this up, we agree that prayer is supplication, sending requests up to God, right?
Right.
Okay. So, go to John chapter 14, and you're going to read verses 12 to 14. John chapter 14.
Okay.
Verses 12 to 14. So this is going to be in context of Jesus leaving, going away, going to heaven.
Yeah. Okay. So, it says, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I've been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. Because I'm going to the Father, and I'll ask you what you do in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. And you may ask me for anything in my name, and I'll do it.
So you see that? Jesus just said, hey guys, I'm about to go away. I'm going back to the Father. And as I'm gone, those who believe will be able to do even greater works than these, right? In quantity, not quality. In quantity, they're going to be doing more miracles because Jesus was only here for 3 years. They're here for much longer, so they'll be doing miracles much longer than he did. So it's greater than quantity, not quality. Now, here's the point, though. He's going away to the Father, and he says, while he's gone, he says, ask anything in my name, and I will do it. He says, truly I say to you, if you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. So Jesus is saying while he's gone, while he's in heaven with the Father, we can supplicate to him. We can send our request to Jesus, supplicate to Jesus. And not only will he hear our supplication, but he is going to answer our prayer. He can answer our requests.
So, and so greater works could simply mean like to spread the message to the entire world. And let's also not forget that Muslims don't pray to prophets, but in his name could simply refer to praying with faith in God as his source while trusting in the prophet's guidance.
Nope, because who does he say to ask? Verse 14.
Well, it says, if you ask me for anything in my name, I'll do it.
So who are we asking?
It's referring to Jesus.
So we're asking Jesus in whose name? Whose authority?
In his authority?
In his authority. So he says, ask me in my name. And who's going to answer the prayer for us?
He will?
Exactly. So he can hear our prayers, receive our prayers, and answer our prayers. We can direct our prayers to him, he says. Doesn't this show that he's God?
Well, let's not forget that miracles came from God, not the prophet himself. And so the Quran says that he performed miracles by God's permission.
But does the Quran say that we can pray to a prophet?
Well, it says not.
Exactly. Exactly. So it says the opposite, meaning Jesus here, supposedly just a prophet, is telling us we can pray to him. So is Jesus claiming to be a mere prophet, or is he also claiming to be God?
Well, asking in his name means to trust in his guidance and teachings faithfully and acknowledging him as a messenger.
Nick, no. Come on, man. Asking him in his name, who's going to do it?
Well, it says, the verse says that he will.
There's no way around it. So is Jesus claiming to be a mere prophet, or is he also claiming to be God who can answer our prayers?
Seems to be hinting at possible divinity.
I love your honesty, brother. So here we have Jesus. Now we don't see the words, I am God, worship me. I am God, pray to me. We don't need that. Just like we don't see the words, I am not God, do not worship me. However, what we do see, Nick, is we see very clear statements of Jesus claiming to be divine, claiming to be God in different ways. Like this, saying that we can pray to him and he can answer. Now, let's think of it this way too, Nick. Jesus says, am I boring you?
4 hours.
No. Oh, okay. Jesus says, Jesus says, here, watch. He says, ask me anything in my name and I will do it. So what type of attribute this is showing that he's going to be able to hear all the prayers from anyone, all the believers who's requesting up to him. So he has to be all hearing. To be able to even hear all the prayers, he has to be all knowing. Then it says, in my name, so he has the authority, the power to be prayed to. And he says, I will do it. My question is this, Nick, think about this. What type of attribute would Jesus have to be able to grant any request that the believer asks of him? What amount of power would he have to be able to do anything they ask?
Well, okay, and so, but again, I did already say that prayers and works happen through God, not independent of him.
That's why Jesus is God. That's the point.
That is it. Yep. That's the point.
Jesus is God, which is why their prayers can be answered when they ask him. And for him to be able to do anything that they ask, what kind of power does he have to be able to do anything they ask? What kind of power is that? You have to be all powerful, right?
Yes, you would need to be all powerful for that.
Yep. So Jesus is claiming to be all powerful. He's claiming to be all hearing, which by default means you're all knowing. He's claiming to have all power and authority so that we can send our supplication to him in his name. So in his authority and his power, and he can do it. So he's claiming to be all knowing, all hearing, and all powerful, and not limited to space. For the believers, they're going to be all over the earth, spread everywhere, right? Millions of people, billions of people believing in Jesus, praying to him in their different languages, wherever they are, in their different times, in their different countries and spaces. Meaning Jesus will have to be omnipresent to be able to hear all and to be able to answer all wherever they are. To be able to answer and grant any request of a believer in whatever the language is, in whatever the country is, in whatever the time zone is, he has to be all-knowing, all-powerful, and omnipresent. Tell me, what kind of being, Nick, is all-knowing, all-hearing, all-powerful, and omnipresent? What kind of being is that?
Well, that would have to be God.
So right here, brother, we got Jesus very clearly claiming to be God.
Which is John 20.
John 14. John 14, 12 to 14, where he says, you can ask me anything in my name and I will do it.
Wow. That's seems like a fair point there. And I'd be more than happy to check it out later and get back to you guys on that.
Good.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart and that's honest. That's humble.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else at this time I feel like bringing up now. So I guess, hold on. When are you guys doing another live stream? Do you know?
I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, usually around the same time that I started today.
5 o'clock, right?
IP, when are you going live?
Oh, Sijuwadi, I think we'll be live again September 30th after my eye surgery. Because I have to get that the prior week, so we can't do it that week. But September 30th, which is a Tuesday, we should go live like 1 p.m. PST around that time. It'll be late. So.
Do you know when you're going live, Michael?
Yeah, September 30th with Sijuwadi.
30th.
That's when we're going to do it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. And Avery, do you know when you're going live next or not?
Yeah, what's today? I'll be Thursday? I'll be live tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time, PST.
So you said Monday, Wednesday.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And also, something I like to bring up is there's a Muslim apologist I've been conversing with recently, and he says he'd be willing to have a formal debate with anybody on any topic. And so, again, I think what you can do is find a way to get in contact with him. Like you can comment on one of his videos, and
what's his name?
It's Nadir Ahmed, and he has a small YouTube channel.
Nadir Ahmed?
Yes.
Bro, no.
Why not?
There's history there.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind Nadir Ahmed, and
you guys already know him?
Yes, bro. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A lot of dishonesty in some areas.
Did you
talk to him already?
Yeah, he's debated David Wood. He's debated quite a few others, and he's with lack of better words, he is. I'm gonna be as real as I can. He's a laughing stock of apologetics right now. Yeah.
Like, did he ever directly engage either of you two?
He engaged with Sam Shimon. He engaged with David Wood had a formal debate with him. I don't know if it was one or twice, but he had a formal debate with David Wood. He engaged with Sam Shimon on YouTube.
Yeah, but did he engage you, Avery?
Oh, me? No. I haven't spoken to him.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Okay. And I've got debates scheduled from now to February. So, yeah. I'm supposed to have a debate on Tuesday with Abdullah Al-Andalusi on Rattlesnake TV. So, yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, Michael, really cool of you to bring me back onto your channel. And I'd be more than happy to study some more and think of some ways I could refine my explanations. And you give me some more new things to think about. And the next time I engage you in a live stream, I'll just recount what I was able to come up with, and I might come up with something new up my sleeve. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm still praying for you, man, and I hope you are too. And I just remember, when we go through this stuff, if we catch ourselves making excuses after excuses after excuses for the text, is the text really based on truth, or are we trying to make it fit the truth? Don't just think about that for how you go through this stuff. Because if you find yourself, like, let's say you go away and you start doing that.
Okay.
Think about what that means for the text and what your beliefs are, and maybe they need to be changed up or switched, because I've changed up beliefs I've had because of that.
Yeah, I do see where you're going with that, and yeah, and I'll keep you guys in my prayers too. And hey, Avery, nice meeting you for the
Nice to
first.
meet you too, man.
Yeah, and maybe see you guys in a future stream.
For sure, bro.
Yep.
Take care of yourself, okay?
You guys have a good night now.
Bless, man.
See, I was last week when I was streaming, I was like, oh, I'm going to get some crazy Dawa guys in here. And then this guy shows up and he's super nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's cool. He's chill.
I watched that. You guys had a great conversation with him. Mm-hmm. He thinks before speaking, and he thinks about what is being said to him. So that's what you can ask for, man, in a conversation, like this, especially with the ton of boneheads we get. So
they start running the Dawa script.
Yeah, start running the Dawa script. Now, by the way, he's also running the Dawa. I mean, he took Zakir Nikes, and said, here, meet the challenge. So he runs the Dawa script. He just has a better attitude with it. Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. That was very amazing and very fascinating. Share your thoughts, what you learned. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, your family. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this. And if you're still watching right now, I want you to know something. You are not just here by accident. The fact that you made it to the end of this video means your heart is searching for the truth. And if you have discovered the truth already, then glory be to God. Revealing the truth is exactly what we do here. We don't sugarcoat the truth. We don't water it down. And we don't twist scriptures to fit feelings. We let the scriptures and the Quran speak for themselves plainly, boldly, and unapologetically. Because at the end of the day, this is not about winning a debate or embarrassing anyone. It's about waking people up to the truth. It's about opening the eyes and the minds of people to the fact that eternity is real, and every one of us will stand before a holy God one day to give account of how we spend our time here. Regardless of title, opinion, tradition, none of it will matter. Only truth will matter on that day. Here on Religious Insight, we challenge deception with evidence, we confront lies with scriptures, and we remind the world that Jesus is not just another prophet. He is the way, the truth, and the life. If this video tells something in you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and also hit the notification bell to be notified each time we post new and engaging videos like this. Every single day we bring videos like this to you to defend the faith, dismantle falsehood, and strengthen the believers to stand firm in a world that is falling apart. And before you go, remember this: truth doesn't change because the world rejects it. It stands because God established it. So keep seeking, keep learning, and never let anyone shame you for standing on the word of God. This is Religious Insight, where we don't just believe, we think, we test, and we prove all things through the word of God. Stay bold, stay grounded, and keep walking in truth. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.